Johnston here with livingoverland.com. This is our review of the Oregon Scientific ATC Chameleon. The camera is set up with two video cameras. In this case, what you're seeing is one forward-facing camera and one rear-facing camera. The forward-facing camera can rotate plus or minus 90 degrees on a vertical or on a horizontal axis. And the rear-facing camera, the camera that's facing me, can rotate plus or minus 90 degrees on a vertical axis. So as you see, I can actually rotate this around to have it look at different perspectives. The two cameras are both 720p, 30 frames per second. And the camera itself laces both of those videos together into a single file. I could see this being used for, like as they're advertising for base jumping, something like that. We're going to look at this as soon as it warms up. You can see there's snow on the ground. As soon as it warms up, we're going to look at using it on our stand-up paddleboard. I think it'd be kind of cool to, have it mounted at the front of the board, have one camera looking at where we're going, and one camera looking up at the individual on that board. So like I said, we've had the camera for a couple of months now, and we've used the camera both inside the vehicle and outside the vehicle. And now I want to show you some of that test footage that we've taken from both inside the vehicle, outside the vehicle, and then outside of the vehicle with the waterproof housing, so that you can hear and see what the differences are. So the first one I'm going to show you is outside of the vehicle without the waterproof housing, so you get an understanding of what the wind noise is with this camera. Went away except for the sound of the air rushing over the camera. So after we got done with that test, we decided, well, perhaps using the waterproof housing would muffle the sound enough that you could hear what's going on. And so let's watch that video next. That cam mount itself, that suction cup, is pretty solid, but it's that loose connection between the camera and its quick release base. So while the video camera records 2 videos that are spliced together, I don't always want that. Sometimes I just want to have one video, and I want to really see in detail what that is. And this camera just doesn't allow me to do that. Now you can download software from Oregon Scientific that allows you to view the video files, and you can play them side by side. You can play one video on top of the other. You can play one video